Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Xeno, the personification of a cry for help, and we are back with All Under Control. I am so nervous as to what's about to occur when I continue this goddamn game. Because in the last playthrough, there was just a lot. There was just a lot, y'all. Listen. It's, this game is good at building tension and dread. That's crazy. See, this is why you don't use the Necronomicon for kink play. Please. Don't do that shit. I actually don't know how much I have left on this game. It is a short-form visual novel, so... I know I'll be done with this part, but I don't know how long it's gonna be. You get what I'm saying? You know what? If it's not long, doesn't really matter. I'm gonna upload anyway. The month of Halloween is upon us. Well, we're here right now. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Maybe I'm just distracted myself on the fact that I'm gonna have to play more of this. Which, listen, me not wanting to play more of this is a good thing in this game's favor. This game is designed to make you uncomfortable, to make you squirm, to make you terrified. And it's doing a damn good job at that! But anyway, let's just get this over with, shall we? Oh yeah, we're still in Alice's POV. And wherever he looked, the shadows were there, with their mesmerizing chant. But now there was another one among them. A large, grin bear, stood in the corner, laughing at him as he rubbed his delacerated cock. I forgot that happened. Jesus Christ. Save me now. Diego was among the ghosts. I wanted to scream, but that was also not something I could manage. At least not yet. I had to call someone first. That's when I understood the urgency of his call. Diego hadn't been dead for weeks as I had previously assumed. No, he literally died today. When I realized he had died the day before I visited, I remembered the putrid smell coming from the rest of the apartment. Oh my god, I knew it! I knew he was in here this whole... I knew his body was still in here! I knew it, fuck! Oh god. Tomas, we need to get you out of here. It's over. Whatever you two had, whatever influence he had on you, we can get you treatments. They can fix your eyes. No, Alex! You should get out if you know what's good for you. Then why the fuck did you call him in here then, bitch? But you won't. Then he laughed, and something in that laugh managed to dig deep inside my heart. I immediately knew I was under his spell. I fucking knew it. I knew it was a trap. It was a trap. Because why else would you call him here? My body was stuck to the chair. You can't do that, can you? I didn't answer. He slammed the paw on the table. Can you? And I damn near cried. I can't! That is right. You can't deny me. Nobody ever could. God, please, somebody help! Hark! He slammed the paws on the table again and I stopped cold. All my thoughts seemed to have funneled into him. You don't have a choice. Such is the nature. We were puppets, and our strings entangled the moment we stumbled upon the knowledge that we don't control them. We ate from the bread the devil had smashed. We drank from the goblet of rotten depths. Black and bitter it was to us all. And now, we share the truth. That we were never in control. The whispers around us grew louder, and for a moment I actually jumped in my seat. The shapes. I could actually see them moving in that dark apartment. In the corner of the living room, I could see a tall black bear staring straight at me. And fuck. It was even more hideous than he had described. Like his shape was stretched into space he wasn't meant to inhabit. The shapes around us chanted in unison. Then Tomas sprang up quickly and came closer to me. His paws struggled to take off the sleep mask. I see. Oh! Damn. You know, you might need to get some eye drops for that. You know, maybe some Theratears, like the extra strength ones. I use those. Those are really good. They really help hydrate your eyes. Maybe you should get some of that. About the blood, though. Maybe don't see a specialist for that. Maybe an optometrist. I'm not too sure. I see them! Even with this mask on, I see them! He threw his sleep mask on the floor, and I saw his eyes. 2 blood-red rubies protruded from his skull, almost jumping out of their sockets, crying scarlet tears. He reached for the eye drops, but his paw trembled too much to hold it. It fell between his fingers, and he cried. I cannot close my eyes! It hurts! It hurts so much! At that point, I saw other people coming inside the room. Neither of us had locked the door. Tomas's neighbors, who up until that point hadn't realized the nightmare that had been happening inside that apartment, stopped at the doorway to see a semi-naked wolf clawing at his own face. Blood sprayed the walls while the other tenants screamed in terror. I can see! His claws came closer to his eyes. Then without hesitating, oh no, he's gonna climb out, he thrusted them in with full force, burying his whole fingers inside. God, I can still remember the squishy sound it made. He must have slid his fingers as far as they could possibly go. Hell, he wouldn't stop until he scooped his fucking brains out. Tomas moaned in agony. I can still see them! I can still see! I wanted to turn my head away, but something held it in place. And even as a whole minute passed, I could do nothing but watch. Some of the residents were running away from the scene, calling for help, while others were throwing up and fainted by the doorway. Then Tomas stopped, standing on a pool of his own blood, paws still trying to force their way into his skull. He turned around and ran face first to the glass screen that led to his balcony. He jumped out the window? The sound of it shattering finally shook me out of my trance, and the last I saw of Thomas was him flinging his body over the railing, plummeting to the end of his suffering. Yay, nice little friend reunion! I felt cold during Alex's final remarks. He didn't sound relieved at all, but rather the opposite. He was shaking, claws digging on his knuckles as he twitched his head to the side every few minutes. God, it was an awful tale. No wonder he had been so on edge all this time. That was last month. I was still in the chair when the police arrived. They found Diego's body in the bedroom. His cause of death? Heart attack. And as for Tomas? Well, it was obvious to all witnesses that it had been suicide. He had lost his lover, had evidence of self-harm all over his body, and the filth that was that apartment showed the signs of severe decline in his mental health. You can read all that in the news if you look up Mikami apartments right now. They also didn't find any haunted book about hypnosis. Do you have it? Do you have it? I'm just saying. I don't know if you took it. And all this nonsense about ghosts and entities. I still don't rule out that it was all some kind of hallucination they both made up to continue with their extreme way of exploring each other's kinks. But that's not what you think. He rubbed his eyes inside. Nope. And if you were there, you'd agree with me. I see. Look, I never would have guessed you'd witness something like that. That would have given me nightmares for days too. Nightmares? Alice shook his head. We'll get there, alright? But we still got some ground to cover. Dude, you don't have to push yourself. I get it, I really do. It's not just about what I saw or how the events stuck with me. They sure did, yeah? Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to recall them in such vivid detail. I'm talking about something else. Why your eyes are also really weird right now? Hey, before you say it, these are not signs of PTSD. I don't even know if I could tell this to a therapist and not sound insane. But I'm telling you, fuck, I have to tell someone. I have to. No! Get away from Tomas was saying! You're pulling a Tomas right now, and I don't appreciate it. Stay the fuck away from me! I shrugged. Theodore, you're dumb as shit. Get the fuck out of there! You didn't even get off. What are you still doing there? Get the fuck out. I had already listened to the worst part of the story, hadn't I? Let him at least give me the epilogue. Go on, then. He replied with a question. Do you think there could be a mental virus of some sorts? I didn't think too hard on the question and just shook my head timidly. I've been thinking a lot about curses lately. Kept thinking of the way Tomas compared his compulsion to a parasite, feeding on his mind and controlling his actions. All because he listened to some kind of occult incantation. Although, you see, it might not have been the words exactly that opened that door, but rather the one thing that we both kept hearing. Those whispers coming from nowhere. It only got worse after I got back home. The nightmares, the stress, the absolute horror of it all. Now you know why I kept postponing your visits lately. I was expecting things to improve, but they didn't. Hell, they didn't even remain static. If it was just nightmares, I could learn to live with that. But then, I started to hear them everywhere. Shit, I started to fucking hear them. The fucking whispers coming from nowhere sounded like gibberish playing backwards. At first, they only be there for a few seconds. Then minutes, then... He rubbed his head. It looked as if he was about to start crying. His voice cracked. They wouldn't shut up. They wouldn't stop. And then it got even worse. God damn it, it somehow got worse. Because I remember what he said. After a while, it wasn't just whispers, but the shapes too. Eventually, I began to see them. When it first happened, I thought they were just some sleep paralysis shit. But even after I got up from bed, they'd still be there in the corners of my room, only vanishing when I got too close. They were more solid in darkness, but they still appeared in the light. He chuckled to himself almost maniacally. You're crying blood! Get away from us! It was the only thing that I noticed his eyes. Almost completely blood red. They were strikingly vivid like those of a starved beast. They couldn't have been like that just a moment ago. It made my tail stiff as a bone. Outside, the gray clouds swung in abstract sovereignty above our heads, making the whole apartment feel oppressive. Alice's attention turned to the corner of the living room, and my eyes followed. I felt a tug in my heart. I was certain I would see something this time, like one of those stretched out shapes chanting their impossible whispers. Maybe I see Diego's ghost, laughing as he convulsively masturbating against the wall. But there was nothing. I saw the corner, just as it always had been that entire afternoon. Empty and ordinary. And yet the bear was shaking. Eyes bulged out, panting deep as his claws scratched the tabletop. No! No, 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 no! No, get the fuck away from me! No, get the fuck, no, go away! That's terrifying! No, no! I see you! You need to get out! You need to get out now! He snapped, then turned his attention back to me. I tell him, but he won't obey. He won't ever do that. I'm not his master, and I never was. I was getting scared myself, yeah, because your friend's crying blood. Who, Alex? He laughed. The answer was supposed to be obvious. Can't you see him? He's right there! He's right there! I wanna go home! But I still couldn't see anything. He didn't care regardless. He just kept pointing, like a kid pointing at the sky on a Christmas night, seeing airplane lights and yapping at their parents. There, there, Daddy! I think I saw Santa! The bear growled. Look again! No! Hell no! Hell fucking no! 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 Hell no! I gotta see this.
Ah! What the fuck?
Oh my god, all the cuts on his body became mouths. Oh, fuck no. Absolutely the fuck not. That's crazy. No, hell no, fuck that, fuck that. I turned to the corner. Suddenly there was a chill over my body. Something could have been there, but I still have no idea what. You're not seeing this? Alex started chuckling. It's Tomas, he said, finger stretched to a sad point in the blank wall. He's in the corner right now. I feel like he's always somewhere nowadays. Sometimes just as a shadow, sometimes as a weird bending of the light. But this time it's him all the way. His smile widened. The panic in his expressions replaced with cynical, disturbing levity. I'm getting used to his presence, but I wish he would just leave. His eye sockets are still bleeding, and that's just stain the floor. I think the floor's supposed to be your worries, dude. Are we leaving? We're finally leaving. Respectious seres Vincenals. What's gonna happen now? I'm scared. I'm scared. Please. This. No. I don't want this. I refuse. I left shortly afterwards. Alice didn't seem like he wanted to talk anymore. And to be honest, he just looked relieved when I said I needed to go. Then, as I stepped into the hallway to wait for the elevator, I reminded him I wanted to hear Tomas's audio from that day before he went to his apartment. It was like it all came crashing down the moment I did so. The bear slowly retreated. Ew. Are you serious? After everything I told you? You said you'd send me if I asked. I guess I did, but... Hey, I know this was all too much. I said, still trying to sound compassionate. He rubbed his temples and shook his head in slight astonishment, as his right ear twitched to the side. For a moment, it faced the empty corner. Yes, it was empty. It always was. I remember thinking to myself how the whole thing sounded in retrospect. How it was just too grim, too fantastical to be true. How his narration even tricked my mind into conjuring those bizarre whispers for a moment as well. He only wanted to scare me, and that's what he did. Theodore, you're a fucking idiot! Cool story, man. The folks at r/nosleep would have a blast. I wasn't mad at him at all. I was actually more impressed than upset at the possibility of it all being a prank. I wanted to see how far this went, and Tomas's voice recording was just what I needed to close it off. Besides, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious about those whispers. They would just bug me forever. I was beginning to think he would just flat out deny anything about that audio. But then he quickly fished his phone out of his pocket. And a moment later, I got a notification on mine. Oh. Oh. The bear walked forward, towering over me. Your claws are out. Your claws are out, and he's staring directly at me. Can you not? His smile was gone, and with it all traces of anxiety as well. His glare was enough to hold me in place. You asked for it. I sent it. I don't know if you believed everything I told you, but if you do just a little bit, I hope you know better than to press play. I was going to say this is your only warning, but if you already made up your mind, just go ahead and listen to it. The elevator opened. Alex turned back to his apartment. Safe travels. Thanks. I timidly murmured as I entered the elevator. By the way, I still wanted to ask, why did you keep the audio saved in your phone? I thought it was obvious, he said, leaning slightly to the doorframe. They wouldn't let me get rid of it. He wouldn't let me. He shut the door without looking at me. I walked out of the building and into my ride back home in complete silence. Parts of his tale played in my head, and I felt like an idiot for believing them to be more than a silly ghost story. Guess he was just that good of a storyteller. I would have loved having asked him to narrate other tales to me in his spare time. Dude. Okay. I have a question. Are we going to get an option to play the audio or not? Can there be an option? Because that'll make things interesting. But that never happened. As I later found out, he wouldn't live past that night. Of what came after? Oh, so Alex killed himself. You know what? I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. He was suffering so much. I really don't blame him. That same night, I forgot to text him back when I returned to my place. In fact, 10 minutes before the ride ended, I ordered myself a medium pepperoni pizza and waited for it at the front gate before going up. It became another ordinary night for me as I listened to my playlist while doing the dishes, procrastinating with the laundry, watching true crime video essays, and so on until it was way past midnight. And of course, thinking back on how lackluster the sex with Alex was, I masturbated alone to a bittersweet fantasy of expectations. I couldn't believe I actually looked forward to spend the night with him. At least he was cute to look at, but not enough to dim the disappointment. Minutes passed, and I only got more frustrated with that silly ghost story of hypnosis. What a waste of time. I laughed to myself, feeling the cold night air on my sticky fur. Maybe he was just crazy? Or socially inept? Whatever the case, I didn't have much patience for it. I didn't want to think about his fears, nor the thing in the corner. And definitely not the vivid picture of Tomas with his whole fist slipped into his skull, digging for gold. Well, you don't have to worry about that if you just leave the audio alone. It was then that I remembered he had also mentioned a news article. And I said, why the hell not, you know? I searched for any recent news regarding Mikami Apartments, Liberdade, SP, certain the place itself had also been just something he invented to add spice to the tale. But he wasn't lying, wasn't he? But there it was. First result, with a picture of the front gate and all. Horrifying tragedy in apartment complex leaves residents in shock. The tenants of Mikami residential complex in the Liberdade district of Sao Paulo, after hearing sounds of intense distress coming from one of the apartments, witnessed a bizarre incident involving the suicide of one of its residents. 24-year-old Wolf Tomas da Costa, who had lived there since 2020 with his partner, had showed no signs of irritability or instability before the occurrence. After police arrived at the building, they found the units in complete disarray, and within one of the rooms was the body of 27-year-old bear Diego Henrique Neto, who appeared to have passed away from a heart attack the day before he was found. A close acquaintance of both victims was also present during the incident and was taken for questioning later that day. Said individual requested that his identity should remain anonymous, as he is expected to cooperate with the coming investigations. Well, he killed himself, so you're shot of luck. I put the phone down, and as quick as a thought, a shadow had grown inside me, making its way to my goddamn brain. This wasn't real. It was still all a prank. Had to be. A big, elaborate prank from a dumbass bear who had too much free time. That article meant nothing. Alex most likely had stumbled upon it and based the story on a random dead couple. He didn't know anyone named Tomas after all. And in fact, he most likely wanted me to look that article up. Just get a reaction out of me. Diego, you're a fucking idiot. For a few minutes, I sat on the couch thinking just that. Then I went to the shower and waited for the hot water to wash that shadow away. It didn't. And until I hopped into bed with my phone and earbuds close by. I knew there was at least one thing that would either bring me some light on the situation or make it even darker. Just listen to it. And I felt that little voice in me telling me not to. One final warning to save me from doom. I wasn't under any compulsion yet. I can still make the choice to delete that audio and forget everything about it. You're gonna listen to it, are you? But you know I didn't do that. Despite every instant, I just had to press play. The message was exactly like Alex had described. Word for word, even with the same intonation I recalled him doing, as if he had listened to the recording an obsessive number of times in preparation. It chilled me to think that way, but that wasn't the only thing that unnerved me. I listened more attentively, and there they were. The whispers. All of them. Astonishingly clear between every pause and every breath, and every vowel and every break between every sentence, down to the most intricate details of their sounds. A second voice overlaid over Tomas's desperate monologue. They started getting louder. I wanted to turn that shit off right away. I wanted to hit the pause so hard my screen would crack, rip my earbuds away, and throw them across the room. Then growl so loud I drowned out those goddamn noises echoing inside my ears. Oh god, it was a fever dream. They wouldn't stop. I wanted to destroy my goddamn phone just to hear the silence. Then I realized the audio had actually ended minutes ago. Should have listened to Alex! I finally deleted that. Nothing stopped me from doing so. Then I stared at the ceiling until sleep took me. Eventually, the whispers quieted enough for that to happen. What now? What now, Thiago? Needless to say, I couldn't sleep very well. The whispers were in full blast the next morning. I played loud music, watched TV, vacuumed the whole apartment, tried every goddamn thing to drown the noise. But no, they just wouldn't stop talking. Not for a damn second. I thought about messaging Alex. Not to let him know what was going on, but just because it felt right to. How would I even start? He had warned me. Not only that, he was the warden itself. And whatever had happened to him was bound to now happen to me. His profile came up. He hadn't been online since I left his apartment. I need you to come. Why are we still looking at Tomas? I stopped for a second, trying to be sure my thumbs weren't tapping somewhere without me noticing. The audio wasn't there anymore. Couldn't be. But then who? I need you to come. Tomas's voice was loud and clear. The demand, more like a command he had given Alex, was now given to me from beyond the grave. That was crazy talk. All of it. I was putting on my thinking pants, then grabbed the keys and turned the knob to a new sense of clarity. All crazy talk. All a hallucination. Walking downstairs for a deeper feel of my reality, as the sunlight bathed my body. Walking away. Walking somewhere I was supposed to go. Walking somewhere someone needed me. I was out of the apartment before I realized it. What? I went to the Mikami complex. He didn't exactly ask me to enter his apartment, but he did command me to come. I wouldn't be able to go much further anyway, as the gate guard wouldn't let me in. And after I mentioned Tomas's name, he threatened to call the police and that he had enough of you vultures. So I went back home, hoping at least things would be easier. But no. The whispers continued the whole ride back. And this time, as I opened the door to my apartment, I almost screamed when I saw something turn around the corner. I couldn't figure out its shape, or if it even had a shape to begin with. I just saw it, sprinting somewhere, bending light around it. There was something in my apartment. I looked in every room, opened every drawer and every wardrobe. Then I turned my head, and I saw it again, the shape now lingering in the air a fraction of a moment longer, then completely vanishing. All the while, the whispers began assuming a more streamlined rhythm. A chant of some unknown language, but one I could understand just the same. A chant not of worship, but of communion. Not about something to serve, but about being a servant, whatever that meant. The day continued. I tried to ignore the whispers and the shapes, but they kept coming. Maybe I was sleep deprived? Yeah, that had to be it. You think of some funny things when there's more coffee in your veins than blood. God, it had to be it. My paws were trembling. The chanting wouldn't stop, and the shapes wouldn't stop. They were watching me. Watching from the darkness. Watching from the corners. Always there. And after a while, they stopped trying to run away from my vision. What are you seeing? What are you seeing, Thiago? You were warned, dumbass. 2 days later, I tried to call Alex multiple times. I needed to tell him he was right. Needed his help. The nightmares had started. That endless maze with the impossibly high walls. Those puppets hanging from the vast beyond and the never-ending sea of stars calling me, moving like waves at the will of their cosmic master. I wandered there until I ended up in a room with a black bear mannequin shaking erratically on the floor, face frozen in an expression of both pleasure and terror. Then I found another room with a wolf mannequin with bleeding eye sockets, so we got Diego and Tomas, followed by a third one with a white bear mannequin who had clawed at his own throat. It was too much. There was no discussion. I needed to talk to him. Well, if that gave you any hints, he killed himself. And after all those failed attempts, I decided to go there myself. But when I got there, they also wouldn't let me go past the gate. The watchman gave me the news in a monotone voice, almost quieter than the whispers. Alex had died a couple of days back. I didn't need to ask him how that happened. So you're stuck now. A week later. They're everywhere! God damn! All I could think of was, this is all Alex's fault. That fucking creep and his bullshit story. If he wanted to get in my head and ruin my life, he fucking did it. Hope he's choking on so much cotton hell his jaw pulverizes. Who the hell do you think he was, transferring that stupid curse to me? I kept thinking about all that for hours last night. He did warn you, bitch. My eyes went shut. I tossed and turned, growled and yelled at my bed, hoping for sleep to come. When it did, it barely lasted an hour. I hated all of it. Fuck, I wanted to push my paws into my eyes. I wanted to rip off my ears. I wanted all this to stop. Please stop, please stop, please stop, please! What now, bitch? But the chant never stops, exactly. My body doesn't belong to me anymore, and soon neither will my mind. That's what they all keep saying, and I never managed to put it into words till now. He is the only one who has control. The one who crawls. All I can do is buy myself some time. We were never in control. But with him, whatever he is, it's all under control. All under control. All under control. Oh, Diego. What have you unleashed? Well, which leads us to how things are currently. So what happens? I gave up on trying to sleep and walked to the living room, unsure of what I was hoping to find. It all hurt. My head, my body, my eyes, and my soul. I thought of calling my parents, but they wouldn't understand. I thought about calling friends, but then I'd just be dragging them into the same hole. I sat on the couch, sure that nothing could surprise me anymore. Except, yes, there was something else. My ears perked up right away, and I turned to the sound of crying. It's Alex! He's in our apartment! It didn't take long for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. Alex was in the corner, crying to himself. His neck had been sliced open vertically, and fresh blood dripped from his paws. I smiled, then cautiously made my way towards him. Hey, big guy, I murmured, and brushed his head with my paw. He didn't flinch. Red liquid poured like a necktie on his snow-white chest. You really were handsome, you know that? There wasn't much to be said anymore. He kept crying, and I just sat there, brushing his fur for maybe the last minutes I could still control my actions. We made some mistakes, didn't we? Some real dumb shit. But what can we do once we know we're this close to the end? What can we do when we know the ship is going down? Well, I don't know. The whispers don't know. The shapes don't know. I looked at Alex and he definitely didn't know. We just sat there and watched as the minutes passed until the light came through. I stayed there, wondering how much longer I still had, thinking of how all of this came to be. The hypnosis, the book, the deaths. Then I thought, maybe I do still have a choice to make. Yeah. Maybe I should call a friend. No, you should not! No, you should not! No, you should not! No! This is not the end! No! Don't call a friend! Kill yourself! I'm just... Hyena Blood and Martini Dog, you guys are fucking excellent at music. Because the soundtrack is amazing. Holy shit. I'm dead-inside right now. Disclaimer, there was absolutely no use of generative AI during the making of this visual novel. Everything in the project was made by a team of very passionate and creative animal people. Exactly. Exactly. Fuck AI. There's all under control. There's all under control. Now what? The cycle continues? But what's the point of it continuing if you're just going to kill yourself in the end? Why not just do that and save yourself the trouble? Don't put anyone else into this. Ugh. My friend was in complete distress. His eyes were bloodshot red and it looked like he was actually crying blood. But you know what? It could just be an act. He was just playing a prank. I mean, he was telling this really elaborate story. He wasn't actually like, fighting for his life right now. Theodore, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Oh my god. Good game. Great game even. It wasn't as I wasn't squirming much during this that in the last playthrough, but at least but maybe that's because I didn't have to endure watching literal like violence CBT on practically unwilling participants, even though he claims he was willing. I don't believe that. Well, perfect for the month of Halloween, right? Well, until the next time, thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you enjoyed it, leave it a like and subscribe if you're really interested. I'll leave a link to the visual novel in the description below if you want to go play for yourself if you dare. And I'll also leave links to my Twitter and Blue State if you want to support me on those platforms. And as always, I'll be leaving a link to the visual novel me and my good friend Did the Red Panda made for the February Game Jam called When You Were Mine. Please don't show support to it. If you do enjoy it, maybe consider rating it and comment on it on itchio. We love reading those. It makes our day. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.